I, 39 male, have a son, 18, with my late wife. She died of cancer when he was 5, and I didn't cope well with losing her. I spiraled into a deep depression and am still struggling with my mental health occasionally. Back then, the only reason I kept going was that I had a child to take care of. I made him see a therapist to process the loss, and he always seemed to be doing fine afterward. My girlfriend, 26, has 3 kids, a tween female, a younger tween male, and a younger male child from her previous relationship. I met her 3 years ago while we were both having a rough time. Our first few meetings were accidental. Then we started talking, and eventually she asked me to get drinks. We didn't start dating until a few months after that. I didn't immediately introduce her to my son, as I wanted to ensure we wouldn't break up after a month. When they finally met, they got along well enough. When the global issue got worse, my girlfriend lost her job, and I offered to let her and her kids move in, as my house was more than big enough. I talked to my son beforehand, and he said he didn't care as long as he didn't have to share his room. That was 2 years ago, and we've been doing pretty well since then. Her kids are all very well behaved and warmed up to my son and me quickly. Lately, my son has started spending most of his time in his room, not even joining us for dinner. Sometimes my son and I would go on little trips over the weekend, just the two of us, but he had declined the past few times I asked him. He always brushed me off when I tried talking to him about it, saying he just had to study. I chalked it up to stress, as he has finals next month and will have to apply to college soon. 2 weeks ago, we found out that my girlfriend is pregnant. We didn't plan on telling the kids so early, but her daughter overheard us talking a few days ago, so we decided to tell them all yesterday. The younger ones were all very excited, but my son stayed quiet, looking angry. When I asked him what he thought, he blew up at me. He started yelling about how much he hated my girlfriend and me, calling her a gold digger and a prostitute, and insulting her children while they were still in the room. I've never raised my voice at my son, but I just snapped. I yelled back at him and told him to get out of my house and come back when he was ready to apologize for what he had said. About an hour after he left, I got a call from my sister-in-law yelling at me about how I abandoned my son and replaced my wife with a prostitute, and how the child probably wasn't even mine anyway. I hung up on her and texted my son that I wanted to talk to him, but I'm currently blocked. My girlfriend thinks I might have just been a little harsh, but ultimately did the right thing, and that he'll come around again. I just hope I haven't ruined my relationship with my son. Should I apologize to him and beg him to come back and try to work this out? Or should I stand my ground on this one? Edit. My girlfriend was no longer working as a dancer at a club when we met. My son was never supposed to find out about it, but my wife's sister kept digging around and tried breaking us up by telling me, and when that didn't work, she told my son. So he and I discussed that, in which he said he didn't care about it, and also promised not to gossip to his friends. So you, as a man in your late 30s, got with a 23-year-old with 3 kids and moved her in, and you're surprised that your son is struggling with the change and kicked him out. You are the idiot for multiple reasons. If both son and sister-in-law think girlfriend is cheating, don't you think there's a reason? Don't start doing too much math, because you'll notice by the time that girlfriend had the 3rd kid, she was basically OP's son's age, and now girlfriend is knocked up again. His girlfriend is 8 years older than his son. Dad is 13 years older than his girlfriend. How ridiculous to expect the son to respect this relationship. Sorry, Dad. Like you, your son still has issues after his mother died, and you're crapping all over him when you should be supporting him. Yeah, there's no way I can spin this where OP isn't the idiot. OP, your son actually has your best interest at heart, but you're blinded by lust. You evicted your 18-year-old son with no notice because the son was rude to your girlfriend. You kicked him out into the world with no plan, seemingly no source of income, and no time to make any arrangements. Your own child. He's right. You are blind and replacing him. LOL. He's clearly prioritizing his 26-year-old girlfriend over his son here. OP's girlfriend was 23 when she asked out a 36-year-old widower with a child only 8 years younger than herself. Miraculously, gets pregnant with child number 4, then tells him kicking out his son was the right move, which just so happens to leave her kids and future kids as the house's sole dependents. I think she was called a gold digger because she is a gold digger. This is actual Disney-level evil stepmom type stuff. I ride the bus because I can't afford a car, insurance, gas, etc. I'm a 19-year-old female and I live in the US, for context. A couple days ago, I was on a bus that wasn't that busy, not empty, but there were multiple unused seats and no one had to stand. Also, I had just gone shopping and had heavy bags that were hard to carry and hardly fit in front of my legs. So I sat in one seat and placed my bags on the seat next to me, essentially taking up 2 seats on my own. Since it wasn't crowded when I got on, I didn't see an issue. And as I said, the bags were super heavy and hurt to carry, so I wanted to set them down. The bus ride was long, and as it went on, more and more people got on the bus. It eventually got pretty crowded, to the point where some people had to stand up. I didn't ever move my bag or offer the seat to anyone. In my experience, most people don't want to sit next to strangers anyway, and a lot of the time, people will end up standing instead of sitting in an empty seat next to someone they don't know. Also, no one said anything to me. At the last stop, which ended at the bus station, where pretty much everyone was getting off, someone passively aggressively told me, "You could have moved your bag and not been inconsiderate and rude. Everyone wants to sit, not just you," or something along those lines. I didn't really respond because I didn't know what to say. The person who said that never asked me to move my stuff, and if they did, I probably would have. So I don't understand how I was being rude. They could have asked during the ride instead of insulting me after it was already done. Buses are also generally first come, first serve, so I think my behavior was normal. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Don't wait for someone to ask you to do the right thing. Once the bus started getting more crowded, to the point where people were standing, you should have moved your bags. You shouldn't have to be asked to do so. It's just common courtesy. Wow, I really thought this would be another one where some creep made her move her bags when there were empty seats because he wanted to sit next to the young girl. But nope. As soon as the bus fills up, you move your stuff. You might rather stand, but many people would way rather sit. I have a feeling this incident is the first time OP has ever been held accountable for anything in her life. People don't want to sit by a stranger meant I don't want a stranger to sit by me. How can you be 19 and not understand that this is incredibly rude and selfish? You can't use the seat for your stuff while people are standing. You should have cleared the seat without having to be asked. You should have moved your bags to your lap to give someone the option to sit down. I'm sure that if you were one of those people standing up on a crowded bus, you'd want to sit down and relax. I'm male 26, dating Evelyn, female 23. We've been together for 3 months, and we've known for 5 months in total. We used to go out a lot together. Neither of us has kids or someone to look after, so after work, we're free. I have a better job than her. She makes a bit above minimum wage. After the first few dates on which we shared the bill, I started paying for dinner and entertainment when we went out. I don't mind it. I know she struggles with money sometimes. However, this week my brother asked me to loan him some money because his car broke down, and he gets paid monthly. He'll give me the money back when he gets paid. As I get paid every 2 weeks, I had some extra money, so I lent it to him. I'm doing good on money until I get paid again. However, now I don't have lots of money to spend on dates for now. My girlfriend knows about this. My girlfriend invited me to see a movie and then have dinner. I paid for the movie tickets and snacks. After the movie, my girlfriend picked a restaurant and we had dinner there. When the bill came, I asked her to pay because I had already spent money on the movie and I didn't have enough to pay for dinner too. She did, but she was upset. When we got into my car, she asked what had happened and why I couldn't pay. I told her about my brother's car again. She said she had forgotten about that. And then she said she struggles with money and I shouldn't have let her pick an expensive restaurant if I wanted her to pay. I dropped her at her house and she hasn't been answering my texts since. I know that her money budget is tight. Maybe I should have told her before the fact, not to blindside her. Not the idiot. It would have been nice on your part to discuss before the date what bits you could pay for. That said, you've been paying for entire dates several times, so it should be okay for her to pay for part of the date once. From your story, it came across as though she sees your money as free money to indulge in. When I go out, even if the other person is paying, I make choices based on what I would be comfortable paying. I wouldn't treat the other person like their money was a stolen credit card. I'd say bullet dodged. Avoid this person. Those are my thoughts exactly, minus the fact that the girlfriend already knew OP lent brother money and it was tight. Girlfriend invited OP to the movie and dinner. So by my deductions, it's her treat, especially considering my above statement. If OP's the only one paying for dates and his girlfriend gets mad that she must pick up some of the tabs for once, I hope OP knows he's an ATM by now. Oh, she invited herself to a nice free evening and an expensive restaurant. That's the part that got me. She had pre-spent his money, and it backfired when she had to pick up the tab for dinner. And now she won't respond to his text. Wow, splurging on someone else's dime is classless. This girl will be very expensive and not care or remember your issues. Probably best to stop, drop, and run right now. This is a vision of your future. People like this don't change. My parents have me, nearly adult female, and Shelley, nearly adult female. I'm their bio, and Shelley was adopted from foster care when we were 4. Shelley has physical and intellectual disabilities. My parents always wanted to foster and adopt, and I was a whoops baby, which is something they've been more than honest about since I was a teenager. My parents fostered Shelley for about 3 months before saying they would try to make it a permanent home for her, and they've said that they knew after 3 months she was the child they were meant to be the parents of. My parents could not manage Shelley and my needs together. She took up a lot of their focus. Most of the family resources were spent on her therapies, medical expenses, and making her life as fulfilling as possible. She also got the best of our parents. They were so calm and loving toward her and were always willing to do whatever she needed. With me, they put stuff off far more. They never had the emotional energy left to be there when I needed them. Oftentimes, they would tell me I was old enough to handle things myself. So when I was bullied in school during 1st grade, they told me I was old enough to speak to my teacher about it and advocate for myself. You're a big girl now, and big girls speak up when someone says or does mean stuff. When a teacher made a mistake with my grade and didn't listen to me, they told me to go to the principal myself. I was a tween at the time. When I was homesick from school, I didn't get as coddled as most of my friends did when they were sick. I had to get up and get my own drinks, still had to eat at the table, and if I needed to be brought to the doctor, it would always be longer than it should be. My mom and dad both got scolded for that before by the doctors. I got my tonsils out as a kid, and my parents rescheduled my appointment a dozen times to fit it around Shelley's therapies or doctor's visits. They had me ask my grandparents for the money for a laptop for school because they apparently couldn't justify the cost. Now my parents want to go to an out-of-state wedding, and they told me I need to watch Shelley for 4 days because they're burnt out. I told them I couldn't do that. Their response was they had done it all this time and I was perfectly capable of taking over for a short period. I told them it was too much. They called it BS. I told them it was too much, and it was too much for them to handle too. And they took on too much when they adopted Shelly from foster care when they already had me. My parents lost their crap, and Mom told me I was entitled, selfish, and possessive, and should be over the fact that I'm not their only child right now. Dad said I was nearly an adult, not 7, and that I was too old to have that kind of attitude about the family. He then told me not to forget that Shelly was the child they always intended to have. They're still mad at me for saying what I did. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. For your parents to show their love so blatantly with your fostered sister over you, their actual bio child, and then expect you to take over her care when they want a break. I have no words. Tell them that you'll call CPS if they pull a dump and run. Social services will take issue with the high needs minor being left in the care of a lone minor for 4 days. He then told me not to forget that Shelly was the child they always intended to have. I hope this doesn't mean what I think it means, because it sounds horrible. The best thing to do is to find a job so that you can move out at 18 and go low or no contact with them. They obviously don't care about you. It doesn't make any sense that they accidentally had an oops baby and then were like, you know what we should do? Take on a way more difficult child of the same age, by choice. Also, I note that you were 4 years old when your sister was adopted. Were your parents fostering her from birth, or did she only come into their lives after you'd been born? Something is missing from this story. OP, trust and believe that their contingency plan for Shelly after they die is you. After what they said to you, I'd ensure they know to make other arrangements. That's often what happens in these situations. The sibling that was neglected by the high needs or disabled child is expected to care for the disabled sibling after the parents die. I, 51 male, have been married to my wife, Diana, 49, for 25 years, and we have 3 kids, Johnny, 24 male, Sally, 22 female, and Hank, nearly adult male. Sally's decided to drop out of college with 1 year left. Both Diana and I were shocked when she told us that she'd been obsessed with her field of study, biology and ecology, since she was 12. We asked her why, and she said that she and her friend would start an online business, and she doesn't feel she needs the degree anymore. I will admit that I was angry since I paid for most of her college, and she only had 1 year left. If she were a first or second year, I would have understood, but the finish line is literally just around the corner for her. She asked if I would give her her last tuition payment as an investment. Important to note here is that my wife and I have been putting money aside for college for our kids since we decided to have them, and made sure they knew that we'd help them pay their way through college. I told her flat out no. That money was for college, and that's what the agreement was for when she got into college. I do not support this decision, and I'll not let her throw away the past 3 years for something like this. My wife agrees with me on this and has been trying to persuade Sally to change her mind for the past few weeks. Sally thinks we're being unfair and reneging on our promise, and we're idiots for not supporting her. Are we? Heck no! You're not giving her money for an investment. She wants to start up some business. She raises the capital. Simple as that. Not the idiot. Oh, and Sally thinks we're being unfair and that we're reneging on our promise? What promise? I don't see a promise. There may have been an implied promise to put her through college, but she's decided to forego that. Therefore, the money reverts back to you. The nerve of this girl. If it's an investment, he should get equity. OP, how much equity are you getting in the company? I wonder if Sally even knows what equity means. That would say a lot about how much she knows about, realistically, setting up a business. Someone is feeding her terrible information about how life works. I bet $1,000 this drop out and get the tuition money is 100% the friend's idea or MLM scam. She's being manipulated and will regret it soon. I was thinking the same. Sounds like the friend roped OP's daughter into being her downline. That is your money, not hers. You saved it to be used for a purpose, for her education. It is not her money, and you would be throwing it away if she used it the way she wanted to. She's making an incredibly foolish decision. College is a historically safe investment for a better life.